Zoom Master, you can start the recording. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I'm Delihlazo, your surgeon at arm of the meeting. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our Toastmaster has virtual hand raised, so you will all can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our Toastmaster of the day, who will lead our meeting, is Jyothi. She is a trainer. Please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Johnny. Johnny, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Aruna, Sergeant at Arms, for the welcome. Welcome to all Leadership Speak members and our distinguished guests. A lovely day, it most certainly is. But before I start, may I request every guest here to kindly put on the chat box where you're logging in from. And at the end of the session, our founder, trainer, and the president of our club, DTM Brum, will connect with each one of you. So please wait on. Now moving on to something very, very interesting, which most of you would like to know. And all of you have read probably. What is today? A very special, interesting, a theme that aligns with our very own club. How strong cultures drive engagement. All of us know it resonates so deeply with the values we uphold here. Service and excellence, quality. That is the pillars that we work on. There are benchmarks that we push and pushes us towards our goals. It helps us sustain our purpose. Eye for detail. That's what is key over here. Last year, we had a phenomenal reach right on top within the first 5. How was it even possible? What is engagement? What truly drives us? It's not just an individual effort. It is truly cohesion. But the collective spirit of every member here. Together we keep the fire glowing through support, feedback, shared victories. Now that is what we see here at Leadership Speak. Time and again, we keep refining. Every day is a new day. We are better than what we were just a minute ago. At Leadership Speak, we embody the culture of adaptability and resilience. That's what is always our top goal. We thrive on technology and leadership skills, the 2 key parts of it. While we talk about all this, today's speaker will take us through what we need to know. Each club operates differently, but our club definitely keeps putting ourselves forward, going forward, and going the extra mile, working towards excellence. Now with that, I'm going to keep the surprise going for the next, when the speaker comes on. Now, I have great pleasure in inviting Nicole Miller, who will raise the toast to the theme. May I invite Toastmaster Nicole Miller, please.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, it is my pleasure to raise a toast this morning in honor of the theme, how strong cultures drive engagement. In this club, Leadership Speak, we are a diverse set of persons from across the globe. We ensure that we serve each other with effective leadership embedded as one of the foundation of this club. We are able to cater to the diverse needs of our members. We have members across the globe, and as such, technology is a key component to us driving engagement. As you would have observed, timeliness, respecting each other's time, mentorship, among many other things, have enabled us to ensure that this strong culture drives that engagement across the globe. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, raise your glass to a toast in honor of today's theme, how strong culture drives engagement. If you have your mug, if you have your glass, if you have a bottle of drink, just raise that glass, raise that mug, raise that drink, and toast in honor of today's theme, how a strong culture drives engagement.
Strong culture drives engagement.
Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much. You are quite on the move when it comes to raising the toast. Thank you. Now, may I request the timer, Luciano, to describe his role, please.
Good morning, good afternoon, from wherever part of the world you join us today. I'm Luciano João, and I'll be the timer for today's session. As the timer, I'll time our speakers and evaluators according to the time detailed in the agenda. And according to the time detailed in the agenda, I'll change my background colors according to the time specified. So I'll change my background to green when the speaker has met the time, yellow, and red when the speaker has to finish his meeting. And at the end of the session, I'll post the time within the box, the chat box. Thank you. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Luciano, for that. Now we'll move on to our grammarian, Rose Pamela. May I request you to share the word of the day, please? What's the theme? Rose, over to you.
Greetings, Toastmasters and guests. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers. I will be listening carefully to the use of language. I'll note any improper language that is used.
You need to unmute your audio, please, Rose. Thank you.
My apologies for that. I began by saying greetings again to the Toastmasters and guests. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers. I will listen carefully to the language usage. I will note improper language, as well as looking out for incomplete sentences, mispronounced words, and any grammatical mistakes. In addition, I will look for outstanding words and quotes that have been used, sayings or thoughts. As grammarian, it's also my duty to introduce the word of the day. The word of the day today is cohesion. It is a noun, which means the act of forming a united whole. In an organization, it describes how well individuals work together to achieve common goals, which is key to fostering a strong and engaging culture. An example of the usage of this word is the team demonstrated strong cohesion with each member, building on others' points for a well-rounded discussion. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting, and also report on usage of the word of the day. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Rose. Yes, cohesion. We are right here as example to the word of the day. A strong culture, that's how we thrive. That's the empowerment that we have here at Leadership Speak. It's individuals taking on ownership. According to the promise theory, we will know all about it. Now moving on to our first speaker, the educational speaker, DTM Tony. Before I invite him, may I invite his speech evaluator, Claudette Thomas, to introduce the speaker and the purpose of his speech, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Tony will be speaking from the Persuasive Influence Path, Level 1, Project 2. This project is for Tony to learn or review basic methods of writing a well-organized speech on any topic and getting the message across to the audience. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Claudette. Now, the most awaited educational speaker for this evening, Tony Bratschitsch. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. We're here to talk about how strong cultures develop engagement. And it's during this presentation, I will talk about how the purpose of this presentation is to describe why that is important to you as an individual and as a matter of cohesion to the club. And it's my hope that you'll take away from this presentation an understanding and perhaps an appreciation of how our individual behaviors come together cohesively from the bottom up, not the top down, to build the culture at Leadership Speak and to make us better self-driven leaders. Now, since we chartered Leadership Speak in February of 2022, our purpose has been to help our members become better self-driven leaders. And in those 2 years, our club has been very successful at doing that. In our first year, Leadership Speak finished 4th in the world when it comes to achieving Toastmaster Educational Awards. And last year, our second year, we finished 1st with 158 educational awards earned by 39 of our members. 28 of those members achieved at least Triple Crown status, which means each one completed at least three pathway levels. And some members completed more. So therefore, this presentation will make its points from our position of strength, from your accomplishments that built our strong culture that drives engagement. Now, we have our own experiences. And I'm going to offer you my interpretation of how all this unfolded into today's successes. Now, I'm not claiming to be a top expert. Okay. I was the District 86 governor 11 years ago. And like many of us, I've had other leadership positions in different organizations, business, community, sports. So we all have our own opinions and our own experiences. I'm going to describe first the foundational aspects of this club, and then talk to you about you, the members, and how we come together in a cohesive force. When this club was being planning to be chartered, our club founders set some ground rules. Number one, we will be self-driven leadership. Everything that we do evolves around self-driven leadership. It's number one. Number two, new members joining our club have to be Toastmasters who have already achieved at least 3 pathway levels. And then number three is we communicate through Easy Speak and WhatsApp, and we use technology. And these are the minimal but mandatory requirements for effective membership in our club. The question for you now, and I'm going to ask this question at the end of my presentation, what is the engine in your train that gets you rolling down the tracks to build up acceleration, gain speed, and get to places you've never been to before? What is that engine? What gets you going? And I'm going to tease you with a question. Is it empowerment? Not to be confused with engagement. Is it empowerment? You know, the Oxford Dictionary says empowerment, power, someone gives to you to do something. You know, you think about that. Someone gives us the power to do something. Many corporations, including Netflix, resents that because they don't give their people the power to do anything. Because as far as they're concerned, the people already have the power. Patty McCord, their human resources chief, wrote in the beginning of her book in 2017, appropriately titled Powerful, that Netflix hires the best people for every position and unleashes the power. And there's a happy coincidence here. I noticed in Jyothi's background, she's got the word unleashed. Right on. So leadership speak. When people join our club, we say to them, what is holding you back? But that's not it. There's much more to our culture. What's really critical to leadership speak is that our club is also a learning institute, something Google is very good at. Now, Google has built its exponential success on what they call deliberate learning. It's planned and detailed, and they move on it, which incorporates deliberate practice, such as hitting a golf ball, thousands of times before you get the hang of it. And in his 2015 book, Work Rules, Google's vice president of people operations, Laszlo Bock, quoted an American physicist, Frank Oppenheimer, who said, "The best way to learn is to teach. The best way to learn is to teach." So what they do is they get their best workers to engage with other workers. And Google has discovered that people will gain mastery by sharing their activities and experiences to get immediate feedback, correction, and experimentation. Isn't that what we do? Isn't our culture similar to that, where our members do activities such as speeches, expecting immediate feedback. Then we correct it and we do more experimentation. Furthermore, we have our extraordinariness sessions every Tuesday. And then we have our meeting preparation practices every Thursday. You know, in that way, Leadership Speak has become a community of practice ingrained in our culture. And like Google, our best teachers are within our club. So therefore, I will ask one of them, one of our best teachers, to join me and to present some ideas and thoughts. Now, this member completed 14 path levels last year. 14, which is the second highest level in our club. And by another happy coincidence, she also happens to be today's Toastmaster, which of course is Jyothi Thomas. And Jyothi, I'm going to ask you to join me so that we're both spotlighted. And Jyothi and I, we have developed some cohesion by collaborating on this. And we've discussed this presentation through Zoom and WhatsApp. And I've prepared some questions for Jyothi. And this portion of the presentation will take about 7 minutes. So Jyothi, thank you for working with me and for sharing your thoughts. And my first question scenario is this. Now, you completed 14 pathway projects last year. And since we're all advanced Toastmasters at Leadership Speak, we know what's required to do a pathway project. Therefore, my question, was last year's success, your success last year, was that unusual? And if so, why was it unusual? So in other words, what got you going? What motivated you? Jyothi.
Thank you very much for asking this question, Tony. Yeah, very interesting what you asked. What kept me going? I'm not a competitive person. I withdraw. When I joined Leadership Speak, I think I was meant to be here. What made me do what I did differently? Yes, I was doing a lot of pathways in my other club, but what was different here? The time and the drive. All that I remember is when I joined, I was asked to give, what is my goal? What am I going to do? And I loved that because I had to be part of a club where I can be participative and contribute. And when I was asked to do that, nobody has ever asked me that question earlier. And this was the first club that asked me, so what are you going to do? Where is your vision? Where are you going? The purpose, vision, goal was in place. And that was what I was thirsting for. And I didn't even know that set it ticking. So I would first completely say thanks to that at Leadership Speak. How did I go ahead? I didn't count. Honestly, I didn't, because I remember when DJ Brown was, one day he said, how many are you going to do? I said 2, 3. I had no idea, but I knew I would do it. I think personally for me, I like to do something different, better, and make people proud. So that was what a personal drive. I saw people here, you just said, the more you see good things around you, you learn from so many people. And that's what I got here at Leadership. There were so many people that kept the adrenaline rushing. And I did it, if I had answered your question. And I think that's what was the driving force for.
Powerful. Jyothi, we all have busy lives. You have a busy life. But you obviously prioritize your pathway projects over other aspects of your life. Why? In other words, what values did you pursue and for what purpose? Jyothi.
Well, that's, I can write a book on it, but nonetheless, I'll keep it very short. Why did I do it here? For me, I think it started with, not everybody's comfortable with that challenge, right? And there was something very interesting that somebody challenged me at another club. And when I came here, I saw so many people doing things. I literally worked 24/7. I wanted to give more because I saw so many good things happening around me. I could not stop myself. Honestly, I could not. So it was like I would wake up. I had my work, but I still continued doing things. So I cut into my sleep or whatever. Might be good or not, but I felt, if not now, then when? It was amazing to see every time I came on a Tuesday and Thursday and I presented a speech, I would get a feedback evaluation, and that was not enough for me. Again, I felt like there's something more I need to do. I would take the same speech, go to another club and present it. And that way, I realized I landed up with almost 26 speeches in 21 different clubs because I was looking at global feedback. And this was the ground I was able to do it. Every time I came and presented here, round robin, oh my, all of us loved that. And there's so much. There were days which I was blown off. I thought, no, I'm not going to do it. But then there would be somebody that would pick me up and say, no, you can. Our mentorship groups, which we started, that's very special here. I haven't seen it in too many places. No matter anybody, if you really looked at it, Paula, just before I got in here, she says, you're going to make it. And I said, I'm nervous. Brahm says, we'll watch your back. Now, this is cohesion. We have people who will pick you up. Baron, so when you feel your vulnerabilities are being acknowledged and you're being picked up, there is no stopping. And I had to keep going because I thought if I let go, the momentum will be lost. And each speech connected so well. And I just didn't count. I went on and he said, so when is the last day I have to give the numbers? That's when I decided I had to do it. I think I answered your question.
Fantastic. Third and final question. Regarding engagement and cohesion, besides your self-driven leadership, we just got another good taste of it. What role did other club members have in your success? What was the impact on you and them from your success?
I think each one in this club played a phenomenal role. Like when we talk about cohesion, what am I trying to say? Like when I asked you, Tony, for one of my speeches, which I presented for a contest, you and Sandra jumped up. But why? That was something which went on. When Claudette called me and asked to give a speech on culture, nobody said, don't do it. When I wrote to the founder, he said, he decided to move away, and it was our way we went about it. Every member, I have spoken to almost, I think, 80% of our members. And though we were part of the mentorship, we took it offline. That engagement, I think, is phenomenal. You need everybody to grow together. And 59 odd members, almost touching 60 plus. Each one gives you one good point. I have more than 5 pathways right there. So that's how I took it on. Every speech, everyone's feedback became another speech for me. And I did it. Yeah, I'm a little shy of being on video or whatever, but nonetheless, Tuesdays and Thursdays are brilliant where you have like you're totally roasted and you are ready to go and face the world. And at every time we say, not just don't be a 7-minute Toastmaster is what this club taught me, and that is etched in my brain. No 7 minutes, and I kept saying that to the whole world. Wherever I went, I said, this is what I got from Leadership Speak, and I carried it forward. I felt like I had to brand ambassador the best practices from here. I went gung-ho telling everybody, this is what we do, because I felt that would be very valuable. So I think every member compliments. The engagement was high. They kept writing to me, and I owed to that club. This club is everything, which pushed me. Not that I wasn't capable of doing it, but they believed in me. And there were times of fear or whatever, but that I think was good for me. I truly enjoyed it. And what I was able to give back is a tiny bit for what I received from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyothi. You know, this leads nicely into the promise theory. And Jyothi, and fellow Toastmasters, it's members like Jyothi and like yourself who take ownership, as you heard Josie talk about, that makes this all work for us. And according to the promise theory, true engagement comes from voluntary commitment to outcomes. We're able to actually predict what we're going to do by making a promise to ourselves. And that fosters the trust and the accountability in a highly engaged membership, as you just heard Jyothi talk about. Author Mark Burgess wrote in his 2015 book with the same name, Promise Theory, that promise theory reveals the behavior of a whole, like our club, from the sum of its parts, like our members, taking the viewpoint of the member rather than a whole. So looking at the entire picture, not from the club level, but from the member level, and how we can contribute. So in other words, leadership speaks culture, which is a self-driven leadership value that drives our engagement, which last year enabled 39 of our members to achieve 158 educational awards. Now, some organizations will say, hey, you know, there's no I in team, and they talk about team. And then they offer to empower you by letting you do something when they want you to, as they say so. And that's a top-down command and control methodology, and we're all familiar with that. And many of us have worked for organizations like that. But not at this club, where our strong culture drives engagement through the voluntary commitment, promoting the promise theory, a bottom-up methodology. Now, when I was district governor 11 years ago, I stood up in front of a lectern and I held up a piece of paper that said success on it. And I was going to try to show my background, but it disappeared. And in that word success are the letters U-S, us, in success. So you think about that and envision the word success, us. Take us out, there is no success. So that's leadership speak. That is engagement, cohesion. And if that is not self-driven leadership, what is? That is self-driven leadership. My question to you is, as it was before, what is stopping you? What is holding you back from doing more and more to become a better self-driven leader? Now, back to you, our most wonderful fellow member, self-driven leader, and Toastmaster of the day, Jyothi.
I almost lost myself just listening to you, and I didn't realize I was the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you very much for that very engaging, I would say, the educational speech with a twist where you made each one of us realize why we are here and what we're doing. Thank you very much for that, Tony. Now we move on to our first prepared speaker, none other than Paula. May I request our evaluator for Paula to come and read out the purpose of the speech, please.
Good afternoon, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, so Paula's speech is from level 2, understanding your leadership style. So the purpose of the speech is for the member to discuss the style or preference when working with others, their leadership style. when working with others and how to adapt the chosen leadership style to situations or leadership styles in general and how they impact the group.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Leah. Paula, Tiger's Eye. Tiger's Eye, Paula Tozer. Over to you.
Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? My fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests, I believe there's a tiger inside each of us, just waiting to be unleashed. William Blake's words capture something powerful, a fierce presence, an untamed spirit that burns bright even in the darkest of moments. Last week, I met my tiger face to face. I set out on a 100-kilometer bike ride, my second ever, and believe me, it was no ride in the park. The first 50 kilometers were a battle against a relentless headwind, and every hill felt steeper than the last. By then, my legs were beginning to complain, and my inner voice kept whispering, "You have another 50 kilometers to go. Remind me again, why did you think this was a good idea?" But here's the thing about challenges. They don't care about your excuses. Adversity shows you to yourself in ways that ease cannot. And that's why I do endurance sports, because I learn so much about myself, and I'm always better for the experience. Challenges demand that you tap into your inner tiger and keep moving forward. With each pedal stroke, I had to rely on my inner cohesion, my conditioning and courage to tap into the tiger burning bright within me. Now, that ride became more than just a test of physical endurance. It was a confrontation with my own self-doubt. Now, by kilometer 85, I had definitely lost my fearful symmetry. My legs had officially threatened strike action. They were just along for the ride. And my fire? More like a flickering birthday candle in a wind tunnel. And my spirit, well, it felt about as symmetrical as a Picasso painting. But that tiger within me, bless its stubborn heart, refused to let me quit. That voice pushed me past every good reason to stop, including the one that said, "Hey, why not just Uber back?" Then I thought about Dutch racing star Marianne Vos, one of the greatest female cyclists of all time. Vos isn't just a champion. She's a force of nature, a relentless spirit with unwavering determination. She's faced injuries, setbacks, and fierce competition, but she always comes back stronger. Marianne Vos embodies what it means to be a badass tiger on two wheels. She races not just to win, but to conquer herself. Because she knows that every race and every challenge is an opportunity to team up with the tiger within. Now, you don't have to be a professional cyclist to know what it's like to face resistance. Know what I mean? Life, much like cycling, is full of uphill battles and headwinds that impede our best efforts to move forward. So whether it's a daunting task at work, a personal setback, or that voice inside your head saying, "You're not prepared for this. You should have trained harder." See, I've learned that the real fight isn't against the hills or the wind. It's against the doubts that threaten to hold us back. Badasses aren't made by avoiding the tough rides. They're made by facing every obstacle head on and by summoning the courage to keep on moving. So as I pedaled up yet another steep hill, the road ahead stretching endlessly like a relentless asphalt ribbon of doom, I thought, why didn't I choose a less windy day? But then I remembered something that I told myself during one of the hardest times of my life. The only way beyond is through. You see, when I'm cycling, I consider pain as weakness leaving the body. So with each pedal stroke, I found myself growing more determined and more connected to that burning tiger within me. You see, that inner voice, the one that was nagging me to take the Uber, well, it began to whisper this: tigers don't make excuses. They roar. That ride taught me something invaluable. You don't have to be the strongest or the fastest to be a winner. After that ride, I sat down with my two best friends, ibuprofen and Aleve. They truly understand me. And I reflected on what I'd just accomplished. And I thanked my inner tiger for refusing to let me quit. So the next time you face an obstacle, a challenge in your life, remember this: you have a choice. Will you doubt yourself and your abilities, or will you attack that doubt with the strength of your conditioning, your courageous spirit, and your tiger's eye burning bright? What immortal hand or eye can frame thy fearful symmetry? You've got this. Your inner fire is the only light you will ever need. Honorable Chair.
Wow, thank you so much. That was theater right there. Thank you very much. The tiger, and we call ourselves the lions at Leadership Speak. Now let's move on to our next, the second speaker, Deborah Walker, and she will be introduced by her speech evaluator, Mohammed Azamuddin, please. May I request you to introduce the speaker and the purpose of his speech, please.
Yeah, today's speaker is Deborah Walker, and it is a 5 to 7 minute speech. The objective of the speech is to deliver a speech and receive feedback and apply this feedback to the second speech. Over to Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. Deborah Walker, horsepower, Deborah Walker, over to you.
Someone once said, marriage is a relationship in which one person is always right and the other is the husband. When was the last time that your significant other did something that made you think, have you lost your mind? Meet Dave. Dave is sitting in the audience. My significant other. Tall and handsome. He's a little eccentric. He will go out to buy a cup of coffee and come home with a $2,000 stainless steel Hydro Conquest Long Irons watch. Hold up the watch, Dave. He calls himself a free-range thinker. I think he's a rogue cowboy. But here's the thing. Dave does research. Lots of it. If you were to run into us in the grocery store, you will find Dave standing in the toilet paper aisle phone in hand, examining the Pure X2 ply. Hey, honey, look at this. There are 12 rolls in this package. 242 sheets per roll. That's 2,904 sheets. The package is $6.99. That's 0.0024 cents a sheet and 0.0012 cents per ply. That's a great deal. Really? And that's just toilet paper. When something really catches his eye, you would think he was working at a think tank with the amount of research he does. Think back to a time when your spouse insists that they told you something, but they never did. My Dave has conversations in his own mind he thinks he's having with me, but the reality is he neglects to tell me what he is thinking about. He loves cars, and a few years ago he decided he needed a new one. While Dave has always loved his silver Audi SUV, one night while watching TV, a commercial came on for a black Nissan Titan truck, and the words "No lazy horses" flashed across the screen. I could tell my rogue cowboy was yearning for new horsepower. And he had done his research. My phone rang at work. Hello, Dave. No, you didn't tell me about the truck. No, you didn't mention it had a diesel engine either. Please, leave it at the dealership and go back to work. I was sure he would listen. Yet the truck was in the driveway the very next week, with Dave standing there declaring, "It's mine and I'm sticking with it." Dave, have you lost your mind? Maybe, but wait till you hear what he did next. Dave is a fixer-upper. Home renovations? Oh, that would be great. No. My phone rang at work. Hello, Dave. What? No, you didn't tell me about a gold 1963 Ford Fairlane. In Hamilton, Ontario. You know we live in Regina, Saskatchewan, right? Oh, Dave, why are you doing this? You're killing me. No, you didn't tell me it was a two-door. That was a conversation you had in your own mind. But Dave had done his research. And he was yearning for more horsepower. I protested and hoped he would listen. But he said, hit the highway in the black Nissan Titan truck, dragging a U-Haul flatbed, driving clear across the country. And when he got home, he stood beside the car and declared, "It's mine and I'm sticking with it." Dave, have you lost your mind? If he hadn't, I was about to after what happened next. My phone rang at work. Hello, Dave. No, you didn't tell me about the horse. Have you lost your mind? You are terrified of horses. The last time you were on one, you wouldn't even let go of the saddle horn. Please don't buy anything. But my rogue cowboy was yearning for real horsepower. And he did his research. And you will never believe what happened next. My phone rang. Hello, Dave. Really? You turned down the horse? Okay, I will call Colleen. Dave finally listened to me. The breakthrough I had been waiting on for years finally happened. And I steered him in the direction of a friend of ours who had a seasoned horse for sale. This is every wife's dream. And I savored it. Think back to the last time you thought your spouse had lost their mind. They may crave their horsepower and call you up with unexpected announcements, insisting that they had already talked to you about it. To all the Daves in the audience, that conversation you think you've had with your spouse, you haven't had it. Please talk to them. And to all the Debbies in the room, have patience. That breakthrough that you've been waiting for, it will come and he will listen to you. And to everyone in the room who has a significant other, the next time they call you up with an unexpected announcement, remember to tell them, "You're mine and I'm sticking with you." Madam Toastmaster.
That was some horsepower, Deborah. You not only kept us engaged, but I think the 53 facial muscles were working for everybody. You have to watch the recording. Thank you very much for that absolutely engaging presentation. Now we're going to move on to our third prepared speaker. The third speaker will be evaluated by Dr. John. And may I request him to read out the presentation purpose. The third speaker is Terrence. Where? Terrence? Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
right there.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters. Terrence is working on his dynamic leadership part, level 1, project number 1, and is giving his icebreaker speech today. The purpose of the speech is for him to introduce himself to the club and to actually learn the structure or relearn the structure of a public speech. The time is 4 to 6 minutes. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, John. Terrence Ware, the upward fall. The upward fall. Terrence Ware, over to you.
Have you ever imagined yourself walking off a cliff and somehow trusting that the ground will hold you? I've often found myself in a situation where I've literally or figuratively walked off the cliff, and instead of hitting the ground, I've soared. Toastmasters and our distinguished guests, I've found myself in many situations taking on challenges or roles that are beyond my qualifications. I can barely remember a time, if ever there was one, when I took a role that was below my qualifications. Case in point, at my first job, I took on insurance. I went to sell insurance policies in Kenya. This was at a time when the economy was struggling. Many Kenyans were trying to keep more money in their pockets. And here I was, excited, trying to get that money out of their pockets into our insurance company. The second instance, I went into a marketing agency and joined a team that was totally new. Now, if you've worked in marketing, you probably know there are different areas of marketing. I'm specialized in social media marketing, and I challenged myself to go and do experiential marketing. The first thing I noticed when I sat in the interview was that I was literally walking off the cliff. It came as a surprise that I eventually landed the job. as a human being, something about challenging myself beyond my limits keeps on calling back to me. And in my third job, yes, you guessed, I went even further beyond the cliff. And just like those cartoon characters, picture that cartoon character as I talk about this. I went for a job where I was starting a whole company from scratch. Some may call it a briefcase company, but in that, I saw a multinational. 3 years down the line, I was one of 3 employees with an office and selling products. I started literally from nothing with that organization. And 5 years after that, I was leaving again to go and do what? Guess again, walk off another cliff. In my current role, I started off as a data analyst consultant or a business intelligence consultant for those who are familiar with that field. It's a field I have never had a chance to venture into. It's a field that piqued my interest when I was working in marketing. And I waited all those years just to get into it. And just like those cartoon characters, somehow instead of falling off the cliff, something lifted me up. I soared. Before I tell you about how I soared in this role, Toastmasters and distinguished guests, we find ourselves many times taking up on challenges, taking up on roles that are beyond our experience, roles that are beyond our comfort zones. For me, it keeps happening simply because my dad taught me that idleness begets poverty. And I live by those words. I don't want to be idle. And I know if I stay with my skill set, I will be idle for a very long time. Back to my current role. As a consultant in data analytics, I had to start again from scratch, getting into a field that I've had no experience, no prior experience, apart from the passion and the drive in my heart. So far, I'm successful in this role. And this has shone light to it has shone light to my background, which when I see right now, when I look back right now, I've realized that there are 3 things that have been consistent throughout my journey. First, believe in the goal. Second, have perspective. For instance, if you're aiming at getting 14 levels done, have the perspective. Get to see what that 14 levels look like in your life. And third, work with people. In terms of the goal or having the goal in mind, I got into analytics because I wanted to tell the data stories, because I wanted the world to know what's going on with their data. I believe that everyone has the right to access the data that is so much flowing in this world. These are thousands and millions, maybe even billions of stories waiting to be told. And I believe I can be part of that. Looking at the overall perspective, the bigger picture, analytics and generally data analytics is going to change the world. And I would want to be part of that change and to make someone's life better. And when I round it all together and look at leverage, it doesn't look so hard anymore. See, I know someone who has done it before. It has been done before by many people who are willing to mentor. And apart from that, I have my God. As you sit back and think about your day and your life and your career, think about those three things whenever you are challenged, so that anytime you decide to walk off the cliff, like the duck, you'll fly and soar with the current. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much. Truly aligned with a high-level icebreaker for our very own club. Thank you very much. Now we're moving on to the fourth speaker. Will be evaluated by Lydia Wanjiko. May I request the evaluator to kindly introduce the speaker, please?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Our fourth speaker is Toastmaster Mfundo Delihlazo, who is presenting her icebreaker speech on effective coaching path level 1. And the purpose of this speech is for the member to introduce herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. She will take 4 to 6 minutes. And the topic of her speech is Seeds of Strength. Seeds of Strength. Toastmaster Mfundo Delihlazo. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Mfundo, Seeds of Strength. Seeds of Strength, Mfundo. Over to you.
Today, I would like to take you on a journey where it all began for me. It is in a small village nestled deep in the rural landscape of South Africa. This is the place where the earth is red and the sky is vast. The stars are so close up that you could reach and touch them. This is where I learned the values that shaped me to be the person I am today, and also fueled my aspirations. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, growing up, my life was defined by simplicity, but it was full of wonder. Our home, made of mud bricks, thatched roof, stood as a symbol of our resilience. My parents, like many in the village, only managed to graduate from primary school. But despite the odds, they instilled in me a profound belief in the power of education. They saw education as a gateway to a better future, a future they desperately wanted for their kids. I remember my mom should often say, my children, they might not have much, but what we have, it's what we will give you. That became a driving force in my life. I told myself, despite the circumstances, despite the challenges, even those long walks to school, but I was always motivated by this belief that knowledge is the gift that you'll never get away. No one can take away from you. Talking about the journey to school. The journey to school was not just a physical challenge for me, but a lesson in perseverance. Crossing rivers, trudging through mud became a daily routine in my life. But for me, each step was a step towards something greater. My father worked 800 and something kilometers away from home. But when he came back home, he created that cohesion with us. He made sure that as his children will do well at school. How did he do that? He will sit with us under the dim shade light of a candle and supporting us, looking into our homework as if he knew what was going on. But that alone taught me that resilience in the face of adversity is crucial. His dedication showed me that perseverance isn't just about overcoming obstacles, but it's about moving forward with determination, even when the journey is difficult. One of the key lessons I've learned growing up is a lesson of dreaming big. From the power of education, perseverance, but I've also learned I need to dream big. I had to set my sight towards greater goals, one of which is to become a better version of myself. I personally believe that words have the power to inspire, uplift, and create change. And that alone is what caused me to join this club, Leadership Speak, to refine my speaking skills and learn from each and every one of you here and prepare myself to share my stories on a global platform like I'm doing today. My dream is to use my experiences, my voice, to motivate others and to show them that no matter where you start, with your determination, right support, you can achieve extraordinary things. My journey from a village to this very present moment has taught me the power of education, the strength of perseverance, and the importance of dreaming big. And that those are not just personal values, but universal truth. As I continue to grow and pursue my career, I carry those lessons with me and hoping to inspire others to believe in their own potential and strive for greatness. Madam Toastmaster, thank you.
Thank you very much for that truly inspiring speech. And interestingly, every speech today is aligned with the theme of the day, and that's cohesion. Now we're moving on to the fifth speaker, and that'll be the last speech for this morning. Mr. Buhari, Toastmaster Buhari will be evaluated by Marie. May I request Marie to kindly introduce the speaker and the purpose of his speech, please. Marie?
Yes. The
Thank you.
purpose of this project is for Buhari Zayyad to introduce himself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. Especially as his request, I should focus on audience engagement and how effective his storytelling is. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Marie. Blessings in disguise. Buhari. Blessings in disguise. Blessings in disguise. Buhari. Over to you. Thank you.
We often concentrate and worry ourselves about the doors that have closed in our lives, not knowing that a new door is right behind you, waiting for you. The Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and guests, by show of hands, how many of us are found in concentrating on things we have lost instead of the opportunities that lies ahead? Thank you. My life is a story personal to me, a unique story which can only be known if I tell it. But wait, how can I do that? I need a platform to do that. 29 years ago, I was diagnosed with an eye problem right from childhood. And my mom told me that I had issues with my sight. Growing up from my primary school, secondary school, I lacked confidence. Confidence to stand just to say what my name is. Do you know how devastating that can be? With lack of confidence, how can I tell my story? Many, many years fast forward, 2019, I found Toastmasters International. I found Toastmasters International after reaching out to a couple of friends about getting a confidence coach that will teach me the art of public speaking. And somebody recommended Toastmasters International. On the day I attended my first meeting, I realized that this is the place to share my story without being judged. My lack of sight made me to lose confidence in public. It made my social skills very weak because today I might meet you and tomorrow when I see you committing, I wouldn't recognize you are the one because of my weak sight. People thought I was a snob. People thought I was arrogant with large and huge pride. Then they didn't realize something might be wrong. But who cares? Because in life, people judge you not because of who you are or what you are. They judge you based on their judgment register. That is, you are not good enough, but they are good enough. I made myself available to Toastmasters International. I started attending meetings. And from those meetings, I saw people deliver speeches, not good enough, but yet they were encouraged to do better. For me, I got a mentor. After getting a mentor, the moment I started facing the stage, I received evaluations, constructive evaluations, of course, based on the CRC method. And I felt comfortable. Why? Because the people there realized that I wanted to improve my public speaking and leadership skills, and it gave me the platform of sharing my story. My eyesight was much, much bigger. That was a blessing in disguise because it made me to be a forceful introvert, to attend any events or activities that would expose me to people that would judge me. Rather, I'd rather stay in my room. When I stay in my room, what do? That was then I realized maybe I could start reading 1 book, 2 books, 3 books. And that's how I started accumulating my reading culture. That made me an avid reader. Instead of focusing that I had a bad sight, I started focusing on how I utilize my time alone, which was by reading and learning new things. Of course, by also sitting down to write speeches that I come to share with my family in Toastmasters International to get an evaluation to make me a better person. And today, I stand to tell you that I am confident enough to face huge crowds. I have presented in many, many conferences. I have been a keynote speaker at different occasions. And now I stand confident with my own voice, not limiting beliefs that my eyesight is the problem. I'm in the predicament that people judge me, that I have pride or I'm a snob. If you don't take away anything from my speech today, take these 3 things. 1, be vulnerable. Open yourself to learn new things. Focus on the new doors that have open, not on the doors that have closed. Available, make yourself available. And finally, be intentional. And you would come back to thank me. Thank you so much. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
That was truly direct to every audience over here. Thank you very much, Buhari, for that. Now that brings us to the close of the 5 speakers. And may I request the timer to kindly post the time on the chat, please? Timer Luciano. Well, while we're getting ready with that, thank you very much for the timer's report. And it's on that. Can we also now have the polls for the best effort speaker? And may I request everybody to make sure that you put in the polls right there. Please vote for them. For the brilliant speakers, it's going to be hard, but we will do it. Once I have the cue from Zoom Master for the polls, we will move on to the next part. Have we received all the polls? All the votes are there? May I please have an acknowledgement for that, please? All right. Looks like we have almost everyone there. Thank you very much. And now I've got the pleasure of introducing the general evaluator for this morning's session. None other than Queen of Straight Talk. With the smile and with the keen eye, and she's gone through the entire session, typing away on the chat box. Over to DTM Sandravan.
Yeah. I am so sorry here. I've got a little interruption, but I'll get you set up for the first one, and you just have to give a fellow a key here. Anyhow, I have really enjoyed this cohesive meeting all around cultural. It is moving along so beautifully. As the general evaluator, I'm going to be calling on people to do evaluations of all the roles and speakers. And I'm going to start out with introducing the evaluation for the toast, which is Baran Ochola. Baran, if you could evaluate the toast, I'll just take myself off screen for a second here and I'll be right back. But I'll be listening.
Right. Thank you, General Evaluator. The toast was short and succinct today and right to the theme. Our theme being how great culture, I'm forgetting it, drives growth, right? And I would like to applaud our speaker, that is Toastmaster Nicole, for sharing right to the theme, for highlighting how we do it at Leadership Speak. She went into great detail of saying how we manage time, how we manage meetings. She gave several examples, which goes to show you that it is not lip service, it rather is the real deal. During her speaking, she expounded really well and also brought in the members. Because if you deliver a toast alone, I'm not sure if that is still called a toast. Where do I believe that we could elevate our toasts? The first was Toastmaster Nicole was delivering from a vehicle in which she had a phone and she was delivering this way, which means we missed out on this part and this part of her face. So that could have been in a situation like this where we have a clear background, we don't have any distractions, and we have the full face so that we see all her emotions, right? And then the second part is a toast what is the number one thing you must have while you are toasting? A glass, something to toast. So we will recognize that our speaker did not have that, and that would be something to have a difference about. But I also have to note that later on the speaker shared in the chat that she was heading to a funeral, so it seems like programs changed last minute and she was unable to make the adjustments. But with that being said, those few changes would elevate our toast to be world-class. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Baran. Just to comment on your evaluations, I have watched you grow through the years. Yes, whatever. I have watched you grow, and you are really very good at digging down into all the points and getting them into your time. Now, I'm going a little picky here, which is something that a lot of people don't listen to. We are here, and guess what? Your Nicole is here, and you're talking about her like she's in another room. I'm just going to invite evaluators or anyone speaking. If you're speaking to an individual person here, which you are, your delivery of an evaluation would be speak especially to you, Nicole, fellow Toastmasters, and especially you, Nicole, and then stop with the reference of her, like she wasn't here. Thank you, Baran. I'm going to move along now to Paramjit, who is going to evaluate the Toastmaster of the day. Now, Jyothi has really run a tight ship on the culture theme, and Paramjit says that self-awareness is the first step towards improving yourself. If you are not aware of your strengths and shortcomings, you will not be able to be excellent in anything you do. Thank you for that thought, Paramjit. And if you can go ahead and evaluate Jyothi.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. Toastmaster Sandra. Toastmaster of the day is like a captain of a ship, and he takes care of every step before he starts sailing until he reaches the final destination. Otherwise, there's going to be tragic incidents. And Toastmaster of the day at Leadership Speak is like a ship with a very well-written soap. And Toastmaster Jyothi, you followed it throughout your journey as a Toastmaster of the day by creating a group on 5th of September, shared the theme for the meeting, and started engaging with everyone, shared all the information regarding the speakers, evaluators to fill the form, and followed up with regularly, and even sharing the name of the speaker and the evaluators. And shared a lot of details with them from time to time. And I think that another thing which I liked before the meeting started, you are very quick to see that there is a time difference between the Tony's speech for 8 minutes, and immediately the agenda was changed. Of course, I think it was not been able to convey to timer. Maybe he is not able to see. You share it in the group. That was very good. Of course, I think he missed and she shown the different lights also. Now, like a captain, you have to be very disciplined and to be on time. You are there on the time, absolutely, I think 30 minutes before the meeting started. And you started with the introduction. You introduced everyone very briefly and even gave the feedback very briefly. And the outcome is the sailing the boat at absolutely time. You are only 3 minutes more than the time we should have completed our first part of the meeting. That is something very great. Now, your cohesion with the LS education speaker were evident, and you both spoke on the same page very comfortably. Now, in summary, we have a flawless meeting, but Toastmaster Jyothi, the only thing which you can give, you had 5 minutes to speak about your theme, but you just took only 1 minute, and you didn't share the thoughts about the theme with the audience. And the second thing was, you are good in Zoom presence, but if you see your presentation, you see that you had the distance from the top of the screen was very less. So I think that, but later on you adjusted. Even now, if you see, you are quite in the half of your head is roughly in the half. In the meeting, which was a flawless meeting, I congratulate for all the work you have done. And because of that, we could feel it in time, and you like your energy. Keep it on doing the good work. Over to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Paramjit. I'm going to say I've been watching you grow as well. You are a remarkable coach here within the club and a wonderful resource. And there's just so much to put in there that it's, an evaluation can't cover all the points all the time. You kind of go for those ones that individual is going to have the best growth with. And so you were covering all of them, and you started out at a nice pace. Then you saw the lights starting to show up, and you started talking faster and cramming a little more in. I don't really think that it was necessary to take the time to share the screen. Just relax into that. You could have showed Jyothi, where she was in the screen just with your hands and let that move on through. But overall, you covered all kinds of areas that I know she was listening intently. I was watching for that as well. Beautifully done. Thank you, Paramjit. Now we are moving into Tony Bratschitsch's purpose of engagement in the club culture. And here to evaluate is Claudette Thomas, who says that strong cultures encourage collaboration and create environment where individuals feel valued, connected, and motivated to do their best. Claudette?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. And also, special thank you to Tony. I felt your speech was inspiring. It was motivational, educational with the research that you had done. Congratulations on a well-delivered speech. Tony, you excelled at the structure of your speech. There was a clear opening, the body full of research, valuable takeaway information, and a message about strong cultures. And not to talk about the interview with Jyothi, that was very engaging. Your speech, of course, aligned with the theme of the region. In the beginning, you told us about the purpose of your speech, and you delivered it in a very conversational manner, which was easy to follow. You engaged us also throughout with real-life examples. And as I mentioned, the interview with Jyothi, and you had some practical stories to illustrate your powerful points and nuggets about self-driven leadership. Leadership speak and its accomplishments showing strong cultures and engagements. That was well done, Tony. Thank you for that. And you concluded with a powerful takeaway. And you talked about the promise theory, which I need to do some more research on that. Thank you for mentioning that. And your question you left with us, what is holding you back from becoming a self-directed leader? Your research on Google, Netflix, and the books you shared, thank you for all of that. These were all illustrated to support your points. The best way to learn is to teach. And you highlighted two specific groups in Leadership Speak, the Extraordinaries group and also the practice group that we do before a meeting. Thank you. Your delivery style, Tony, you had effective pauses, your pace, your pitch was delivered well. Your Zoom presence, Tony, you were centered on the screen and it was good lighting. What you want to consider, Tony, is your opening. If you could have asked a rhetorical question, probably, how does strong cultures drive engagement? What does that mean to you? Instead of you saying, I'm here to talk about, and you stated the theme, that I felt would have been more impactful. Also consider probably using a plain background so we can see your gestures more effective. And there was a time you said, well, about your involvements in the district, and I felt you diminished your accomplishments, but you could have built that up some more. All in all, Tony, to summarize, you excelled at your conversational style, the motivation that you provided us with, the interview. This was a new new piece to add to the speech, the research that you've done and your message. Overall, Tony, your speech was memorable. The promise theory leads to outcomes, trust in ourselves, and further cultural engagement. Thank you, Tony. And back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, Claudette, for that wonderful evaluation. It's never easy to evaluate somebody as experienced and a keynote and try and get that in that 2 to 3 minutes. It's really a challenge, and you did it. One of the areas, you did the content and how wonderfully it was put together. And you came back with some improvements, which is always, you know, so many people run away from that, but that's where the golden nuggets are. I know with Tony, I'm always saying, why are you squinting? I want to see your eyes. It's like, maybe that makes him a better lawyer because nobody can see those eyes. I invite you, Tony, to open your eyes for us, share your eyes. And Claudette, when I'm looking at your own Zoom presence, you tend to be this way, and I know I've mentioned it before, but if there's some way you can adjust so that the camera is more straight on, even if it's down a little bit on you, because it leaves you with your chin up, and when our chin is up, it's not being a snob, but it's just not connecting the same way. I know you want to connect because you really are passionate, and if you can just get that camera so that your head is down and you're with us instead of above us, if you will, it would be wonderful. Thank you so much for a beautifully created evaluation for a tough speech to do. Thank you, Claudette. All righty, our first evaluation of the speakers is Paula Tozer's Tiger's Eye. And Leah Mazungo is going to evaluate, and she says, I believe a positive culture will set the tone for engagement, enhance collaboration, and drive innovation. These sharings are beautiful and are what speaks to leadership speak. Leah, can you please evaluate Paula?
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. A tiger's eye burning bright. Thank you so much for your speech today. And I'll just share some things that I picked up, which I thought were great. I liked your Zoom presence. You clearly had eye contact with the lens, which is us, your audience. So you are clearly looking at us. I really liked that aspect of your presentation today. And your storytelling, I must say, it was very engaging. And the thing that made it so engaging was the use of your English phrases. The only way beyond is through. The real fight is against the doubt. You had so many English phrases in your speech today that really brought your storytelling to life and made it so engaging with us, your audience. And even just the way you used your gestures and the way you moved in terms of coming forward a little bit back, increasing your voice pitch, it really added to your storytelling. I found it so engaging, and I wanted to see how it was going to end at the end of your ride. So a few things that I picked up that I thought maybe you might want to challenge yourself with is be mindful of the Zoom background that you use, because there were times when you would move your hands and it seemed like, I don't know if it's happening right now with me, it seemed like some of the gestures would be swallowed up in the background. I don't know if I'm using the right word. So we couldn't really see some of the movements, like towards the end, they were being taken in through the background. And then another thing that I thought you may challenge yourself with is that I noticed that when you gave your speech, you were particularly just in one spot. Yes, you came forward, you came back, but This is just me saying, just to challenge yourself, try use more of the space around you. It's very clear that you are a great speaker. So maybe just as a way to elevate your presentation, try and start maybe your speech standing on this particular point, you move to the middle, and then maybe you end on the other side. I'm trying to move on the screen. Just as a way to also, in terms of the visual effects of your presentation for us, as just a way to elevate your speech. Other than that, I definitely enjoyed your story. And as you told us, tigers don't make excuses, they roar. And I think that definitely resonated with us as you presented. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Leah. I love your energy. Your energy and passion in your own personal engagement reaches through Zoom and comes right into me. That's a challenge for many people, and you have that gift to come right on through. Your enthusiasm and engaging and engaged shows up, and that's important. You were very personal. You were speaking to Paula, and I hope everyone could see what's the difference when you're speaking to Tony or speaking to Paula, which both of our evaluators did. And to be able to cover everything that you did there, you covered the content, the value, and some improvements, and summarized and cheered her on to continue the effort. You were listening with the gut. And a couple of people have said, Sandra, how do you do your evaluations so deeply? I listen with my gut. Are you moving me as the audience? Are you talking to me? Because evaluation, speaking, everything is a conversation. And you've got this going so beautifully, Leah. Congratulations to both of you. Our next speaker was Deborah Walker with Horsepower. And Mohammed Azim is evaluating. Now, Azim says that a strong culture ignites engagement by aligning values with actions, fostering trust and passion among team members, so important. When leaders embody shared principles, they inspire dedication and unity. A cohesive culture turns vision into commitment, driving collective success. And that's certainly illustrated here in this meeting today. Azim, could you please evaluate Deborah?
Thank you very much, General Evaluator, and especially my speaker, Deborah Walker. You actually engineered your topic, but emotionalized your story. Horsepower. And when I listened to this topic, I recalled the last year's problem, 500 horsepower motors, and that caused a lot of difficulties for me. So I was thinking that type of a story. But when you started the story, it was very difficult and different than what I experienced. So it was the journey of emotional interactions with your spouse and a difficult demonstration of retaining the integrity, family values, and respect for your spouse. But at the same time, it was an exemplary demonstration of increasing frustration that every family can have at certain time of moment. So the story starts with purchasing of watch, and then there are 3 phone calls where I realized that there was an increasing level of frustration of every unexpected events happened, and that events caused by your own spouse. The first, it was the initial stage of moderate frustration, and then second call, escalating frustration, and third call, the peak of your frustration. How you demonstrated this frustration through your posture, gesture, facial expressions, eye contact, and body language. It was perfect. Wherever you needed to express your frustration, you had a perfect proportion of posture, body language, facial expression, eye contact, everything. And that was the ingredient of making your story a successful story. So I realized that what actually has caused the frustration in your story. Actually, the greatest frustration does not lie in the problem that we face. It lies in the progress that we cannot make even with our best efforts. And that is that you feel that you are lacking in controlling the autonomy of your family, and that the lack of communication that you have with your spouse before happening the event, he is not communicating well to you, and that unmet expectations that you have. So these are the reasons that cause the frustration, and that you perfectly portrayed in your story. The message that you send, that have patience. Yes, this is great. That in this moment when the events are happening, a series of events are happening and causing frustration, then the best way to fight it is that you must have the patience. That's good. But what I miss is that through your story, when you say, have you lost your mind several times, with this, the audience started shifting with the sympathy to your spouse. And at this moment, it was necessary that you must feel some sort of remorse and should have some sympathy with your spouse, and should provide the resolution that, yes, it happens in our life. The frustration is transient. The thing is that we need to find the resolution, sympathy, remorse within it, so that we can repair our broken relationship, repair our unexpected events in the right direction. And that I think that you must include in your speech. Overall, the speech was really very, very perfect and impactful, and I enjoyed it. Over to General Evaluator.
Thank you, Azim. Thank you. I always get a grin when Azim starts because he's got so much to say. It just can't fit in that time. It just can't fit in that time. Very specific and inviting for listening to you. You've developed this lovely style so that your evaluation actually flowed like a speech as well. You brought out some really wonderful points. I saw Deborah grinning away with all the great things she did, and then seriously listening while you were going specifically through all the possible improvements, which are really critical. Now, what I'm going to invite you to do, Azim, is you're going to have to choose what you're going to use for content. You're going to have to get specific much more quickly instead of too flowery, because that's taking your time up. You had a great pace. What I miss is, so the improvements actually started. What I miss is you were at red. So I don't know what the final timing will be, but you're getting into the real, we all like to hear the wonderful things, but our growth is in the improvements. That's where we want to get to first. As for your Zoom presence, as with Claudette, find a way so that the camera is coming down on your face a little bit, because again, you've got the chin up and we're kind of looking up your nose, and that doesn't do a nice connection with the audience. So that's my little brief one there. I love all of these evaluations that are happening today. Congratulations. Thank you, Azim. Next, we have Terrence Weir's speech of the upward ball. I love that. These are icebreakers here coming up. John Ojefo is going to evaluate Terrence, and John says that a strong culture is a powerful motivator of a sense of purpose and helps members of a team, club, or an organization to get fully involved, to get fully committed, and to make a positive impact. Let's welcome John Ajefo.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Terrence. What an effective icebreaker speech you've given today. I greatly enjoyed your icebreaker speech, and because it was easy to follow and it provided a great example of what it is to be able to move from a position of uncertainty to a position of glory, of where you triumph over any adversity that you might be having in your mind. You enhance the cohesion of your speech with relevant examples of personal stories of your career transition and with a well-structured transitions. At the end, I felt that I've provided me enough information about yourself or who you are, particularly your various careers and how you have transitioned or moved from one to the other, and the motivation for each one of them. Thank you for that, for this speech. And you have achieved, I believe you have achieved the purpose of this speech, or of this project, which is to introduce yourself to the audience and learn the structure of a basic public speech. You have done this by well-structured elements. The opening, you started with an inclusive opening, which is attention grabbing. Have you ever walked to a cliff and then instead of falling off, you are falling upwards? It was so suspenseful, and I liked it very much. In fact, even starting with the title of your speech, it made me very curious and interested. What is falling upwards? Thank you very much. During our conversation, you asked me to focus more on your pace as well as pause. So this is where my suggestion will come in. My pace refers to ability, the rate of speed of which you speak. And I thought that this an area you might consider to improve upon, because there are times I did not see a major or a significant vocal variety. Sections where you are able to slow down in your speech or speed up so as to embrace and to engage the audience. So you might want to consider working on that. The other areas that you also want to work on is on the pace. The pace being me that not pace, I'm talking of pauses, in which use pauses to engage the audience and to pause and to make sure that we are following you. All in all, I enjoyed your speech. Thank you very much for introducing yourself to us. You might want to work on your pace and more of your pause. I look forward to your future speeches. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, John. I want to say that your manner is really inviting. I mean, you spoke directly to Terrence, which I just think is wonderful. The connecting that you have is a natural connection, and it comes right through Zoom over to me. I can see and I can feel you here. You went through the strengths and the content, and at the green, you started into the suggestions. I think that's a great place to, at the minimum, be getting into the suggestions of pace and variety and pauses. And of course, you finished off with the encouragement that we want to hear more. That is kind of your Oreo cookie. That's the beginning, the fix up that glues it all together, the feedback, and a positive closing. That was a perfect formation of evaluation for anyone that struggles with it. That's what I would be looking at. These icebreakers, every one of them to me are signature stories that can be developed into their branding. Thank you, John. Our next evaluator is Lydia Wanjiku, and evaluating Mfundo Delihlazo. Let's see if I've got that right, with the icebreaker called Seeds of Strength. Lydia says, as leaders, we need to be inclusive to different cultures in our leadership as people are socialized differently. It makes me learn and the purpose to become an inclusive leader as I learn and accommodate others when engaging with them. Beautifully put. Lydia?
Thank you, Madam GE. Mfundo, you really excelled in that speech. Seeds of strength. The structure of your speech was great. You had a very clear introduction because you started by telling us, I'm going to tell you a story. That way, you made us to be engaged and to look forward to hearing your story. Then the journey of that story, we could see. And the way you took us through, the way your parents had the basic education, but they valued education. You made it very clear. And they even told you that believe in the power of the education. You made, especially myself, was very glued. I kept on listening to your story. It is your story. The confidence was great, and you knew what you're telling us. Thank you very much for that great story. You had requested me to look at the body, your body language, and the vocal variety, which I challenge yourself next time to try and stand. Because when you're standing, you will be able to see their hands gestures, because I noted you are seated. So at a particular time, your hand gestures, you are struggling, but you are not able to see them well. As opposed, if I told you you are standing, we would have enjoyed more your story, because you would have seen, you could have actually seen very well your hand gestures. Overall, you did very well. The structure was good. And you also told us your key takeaway to dream big. And that is why you joined Leadership Speak, so that you're able to tell your story and learn from others. And then you finally left us with a key takeaway to believe in ourselves, so that we are able also to learn more. That way, thank you very much for that. It was very engaging story, and thank you very much for that. Lastly, my apology. All along, I thought it was a female, but I saw when you started talking, I saw a man. Thank you very much, and my apology for that. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Lydia. I had the same challenge, because I often go and try and look somebody up on Facebook and connect, and I found a woman, and I thought, Anyhow, that was delightful. Lydia, when you do your speaking and also here in your evaluation, you are confident and you are you. There's no apology for being who you are, which is kind of what happens behind some of us when we're performing to deliver versus just being. The confidence of you. And you have even lovely vocal variety within there, little chuckles here and there. And just so simply at the end, saying, oh, apologies, I thought this was a woman, had the surprise. You're being so relaxed with that. You really noted the whole power of story. And the power of story has shown up in all these icebreakers. But the story, with the confidence to deliver the story, you had to keep listening. And when I heard you saying that, I'm thinking, how encouraging is that to the speaker? That is powerful. In order to improve, you came in with stand up so we can see your gestures. I found the whole evaluation covered all of the points. And it was thoughtfully, I like to think of it this way, like you're thinking your way through it. It's thoughtfully delivered. So it had to be thoughtfully received because that's what we do. That's what we do. And I love that you included there the dream big and believe in ourselves. The messages today are beyond cohesion. The messages today from all of our meeting is to really be engaged with everyone with the support. I enjoyed it. Lydia, thank you so much for your evaluation. Our final speaker is, oops, just a minute. Yes, Buhari. That was Buhari that I was thinking was a woman. Sorry. Okay, Buhari spoke about blessings in disguise, another icebreaker, and our evaluator is Marie Cousin. She says, strong cultures drive engagement by cultivating a strong culture of innovation, which is what we love, and collaboration, leading to high employee engagement and creativity, which is how we take Toastmasters out into the work life as well. Marie, your evaluation, please, of Buhari.
Today, I had the pleasure of listening to Buhari Zayyad deliver an engaging and thought-provoking presentation. Buhari Zayyad demonstrated a commendable effort in employing the fundamental technique of storytelling to captivate the audience and convey a powerful message about himself, so about most of us. I would like to offer an evaluation based on the CRAFT framework, which stands for character, realization, action, flair, and tension, to provide a comprehensive view of the effectiveness of his storytelling and audience engagement. Characters. Buhari Zayyad, you introduce compelling characters that resonate with the audience, yourself, and the audience. Your use of vivid descriptions and your relatable experiences made the story memorable. To enhance this further, consider deepening their backstories or conflict to enrich the audience connection. Play more with contrasting emotion in your narrative. Realization. The moment of realization in your story was effectively portrayed. It was clear when the key insights or lessons emerge, which provide a pivotal turning point in your narrative. Your transformation, gaining self-confidence on how you did it. The strength of this aspect ensures that the realizations distinct and impactful, allowing the audience to fully grasp its significance. Your rhetorical sentence emphasizes this moment and enhances its impact. This is the place to be. Action. Your presentation was dynamic, with clear and purposeful action, driving the narrative forward. The way you illustrated your decisions and response kept the audience engaged. To further improve, you might consider integrating more visual or interactive elements that align with these actions. This could make the story more immersive and enhance audience engagement through visual stimulation or interactive participation. Flair. The flair you infused into your presentation was commendable. Your expressive delivery and energetic approach captured the audience's attention. You considering varying your tones and pace strategically throughout the presentation, employing pauses for dramatic effect, or changing your vocal dynamics add additional layers of interest and keep the audience engaged. Tension. You effectively build tension in your story, creating anticipation and maintaining interest. The key moments of conflict were well executed. For future presentation, aim to introduce and escalate tension earlier in the narrative. This can help sustain the audience's curiosity and maintain a stronger grip on their attention throughout. In conclusion, Buhari Zayyad, your presentation showcased a solid grasp of storytelling techniques and a strong ability to engage the audience. By refining the elements of character development, realization, their clarity, and action integration, while enhancing flair and early tension building, you will elevate your storytelling progress ever further. Your passion and dedication to mastering the art of public speaking are evident, and I look forward to seeing you continued growth and success. Thank you for sharing your engaging story with us today. Keep up the excellent work, and I encourage you to continue experimenting and refining your storytelling technique. Over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Marie. We certainly get to see that French flair. and Marie, I know you have struggled mightily since you joined the club, where you used to be and you've slowed right down so we can have time to understand through your accent. You've slowed down and you've calmed yourself. It's like you're breathing now. You analyze really deeply. I know when you evaluated me last week and then I asked you to send it to me and it was beautiful. You have a system which goes through step by step. I was making a little bit of a note I picked up here: realization, transformation, and you went action, and to further improve. So when you went to further improve, I think I was thinking, okay, here's going to be the improvements coming. Then you had tension. So you went back into the list. At tension, you were already into the red. And from there, you went into conclusion. And so that's where your time is getting lost. You cover so much. That is the beautiful part, that if you can send your evaluations to the person as well, they are gold, absolute gold. And you might want to share what it is that you're looking, because I think it would help all of us in our evaluations. Out of that, you need to really choose what things are you going to do in that 2 to 3 minutes. You're going to want to make sure you're congratulating them on their strengths, but you can't do them all because we are advanced club. We're all got so many strengths and we really need those improvements. That's where the gold is, and we need to be encouraged. You do it all and you do it with flair, but you're going to have to choose to control your content. Thank you so much. That brings us to the end of the speakers and the evaluations. I think the timer will put the times in for us. There they are. You can check and see how your times went and see where you have to control your content and make your choices. I'm going to ask for the poll to be put up for the best evaluator as well, please. And the certificates will get prepared somewhere. There's it is. Just a minute. Let me see. Oh, it's so hard, isn't it? It is a challenge. Could we have, please, while we're waiting for the, thank you, the timer report is up. Luciana, thank you so much. Grammarian, could you please, Rose, Pamela Odundo. Oh, here's our best effort evaluator. Yeah, Claudette Thomas. There you go. The certificates will be being prepared behind the scenes as we go. Grammarian, your report, please. Rose.
Awesome meeting. Thank you all. I'll go straight to it. The word of the day was cohesion. It was used by Jyothi 5 times. It was used by Tony 6 times. It was used by Paula once, by Paramajit once, and by John once, making a total of 14 times. I tried to put it on the chart. Next time, we may be more vigilant to look out for the word of the day and use it. There was excellent use of language. I picked out quite a few. 2 minutes is not enough, but I'll try. We had Tony, who said Google has built exponential success. Each person in the club, he says, plays a phenomenal role. And he asked us, what is holding you back from becoming a self-driven leader? That was a rallying call and a challenge to each of us. We had Paula, who used the words relentless headwind. She challenged this also not to make excuses. She says tigers do not make excuses, they roar. And that's something we can pick up. And she said the real fight is against the doubts that hold us back. The only way beyond is through. And next time you face doubt, attack that doubt with your courageous spirit and tiger's eye. She ended with a quote, or she mentioned a quote by William Black, that a fierce spirit is an untamed spirit that shines brightly. What immortal eye could frame that symmetry? Thank you so much for that. We went ahead and we had Terrence, who told us that idleness begets poverty. I did notice a sentence that could be improved, Terrence, where you said trying to get that money out of their pocket into an insurance company. You could probably have said, encourage clients to invest in our insurance products for their long-term security and financial well-being. Deborah Walker, thank you so much. You told us a breakthrough you are waiting for. It will come. That was really reassuring. We had Mfundo, who told us that knowledge is a gift that no one can take away, and that words have power to uplift and to cause change. He also reminded us not to concentrate on the things that we have lost, but instead look to the opportunities, and that we focus on those doors that have opened. I thank you for Buhari as well, who reminded us that we should strive for greatness. I did, however, notice that you mentioned that today I might meet you and tomorrow, if I see you, I might not recognize you. A better way of saying that could have been, today I might meet you, but tomorrow could pass you by without recognizing you. You also gave us a few thoughts to go home with. You told us not to concentrate on those things again that we have lost. You told us to focus and to strive for greatness. You reminded us that we should be vulnerable even as we learn. That is my report. Thank you very much. And I hand it back to you, General Evaluator.
Wow. I know what it is like. Well done on the grammarian job and the timer job. All those roles in behind, the host, the co-host, the Zoom master, all the roles are so critical to learn and have some experience with. And you did that beautifully. Listening to all of that means listening intently for the full 2 hours that we've already been going. Okay, we are moving into our trainer moment here. 3, 4, and 5 minutes. So Brahm, you have 5 minutes for critical thinking evaluations by Brahm Mamon. Brahm?
Thank you. This past week, I spoke to 3 advanced clubs. Surely they do need, well, they want to know what we do. And here we exemplify what we really do well. Tony, thank you for taking the challenge to speak today about culture and engagement, because it is really culture that drives engagement. And thank you for involving the TMOD today. Now, let me rephrase that. During one of my visits to one of the advanced clubs, I met a world champion of public speaking. She had been invited to speak at that club. And surely she did mention exactly what we emphasize here. She said, in most Toastmasters Club, we do public speaking, but we don't really speak what is needed in the real world. She said that. And she's coming, therefore, because of that, to Leadership Speak in October. So renew your membership if you want to have the best inside stories about from the World Champions of Public Speaking or international presidents. Now, you see this background behind me. You see the lighting on my face and how I'm framed. It's called framing. It's a technical term. And that is what we need to see on Zoom, or at least give some evaluation about the Zoom presence. And today we heard quite a bit. But here, have a look at this, right? The lighting on me will not change, but look at the background. When the background changes, I seem to appear a bit different. See that? Or that? So we have to be careful not only of the lighting, what's hitting our face and our Zoom presence, but also what's also in the background, our skin tone, the clothes we wear, and so on. It's all called framing. We don't have expensive cameras. We don't have expensive equipment. So in a TV studio, you could get away with all the sophisticated equipment, but here we have to be careful about how we present ourselves. And of course, we have to be seen, at least as here. The other thing is, going back to the world champion of public speaking that I met at an advanced club. What we emphasize on is that it is always about the audience. All presentations should be about the audience. And I can see gradually over the past few weeks, we've been talking about this, and we really emphasize it in the extraordinariness coaching meetings on Tuesdays. We are getting much better at the audience takeaway and the amount of time we have to spend at the end for the audience. What is your takeaway? And we saw that quite a bit in this meeting today. So it was very well done. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, it is always about the audience. So how you begin your speech, the title of your speech, and the layers that you come to the conclusion and give it to away to the audience, this is your takeaway, is very, very important in how we structure our speeches, because you can take that speech in the real world. That's what I'm saying. In the real world, that's what the world champion of public speaking was alluding to. We do public speaking in Toastmasters, and we do a different speaking in outside in the real world. So what are we learning here? That's why we have an advanced club, is to we structure our speech in such a way and speak in a way that we can take this speech that I've done here for 7 minutes and do it in the real world and be paid for it. Or do my boardroom presentation the way it's supposed to be done, that I am heard and I speak with confidence and conviction and so on. So that is what we are training here for. So if you're a guest, do sign up the guest book and we'll speak to you soon. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Brahm. I particularly like today's format for your training. And quite often you try to cover the whole meeting and do everything, and we've already done that. The evaluators have evaluated, and so to go back and evaluate all of those things, it seems redundant and not insulting, but just like it diminishes what we've already done. But today you lifted us up. You lifted us up. What I saw you doing today was speaking to so many clubs, Brahm. You really have a passion for spreading Toastmasters to the world and really getting everyone going. With that, my challenge to you is you've got 59 members or whatever here as well. Why not book us into speaking around the world as well? You could be like a speaker bureau, and or take one of us at a time with you when you're out there speaking and say, I'm bringing myself and I'm bringing another speaker, and have that other speaker teach whatever their main asset is to that club. That would give everyone growth, and you have got the potential to lift all of us up and take us all out into the world as well. So that's my challenge to you. I really liked your way of just recognizing Zoom presence was talked about a lot within the evaluation area, and you proceeded from there to take your strength to give us a lesson on Zoom presence instead of trying to cover everything. So there's my 2 points for you. We appreciate you as the leader you are, but I invite you to include us in your world travels and to choose each week one area that you're going to teach us very precisely. Thank you, Brahm, for all you do. I don't know if the certificates are ready yet. Baran, are they ready, or who's doing the certificates? I guess while we wait for the certificates to come, I shall hand it, I think. Got too many papers here. I think that covers everything for me, and I shall hand it back to Toastmaster Jyothi, if you can get the polls and the responses, the certificates, and our thought for the day and everything going. Jyothi, thank you.
Thank you very much. Straight talk, queen of straight talk, general evaluator DTM Sandra, for that observant and valuable general evaluation report. Now, as we move on, we will have the thought of the day by Toastmaster Bindu Thangappan. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Jyothi Thomas. Hello, everyone. We learn from people. We earn people. Engagement with people is the powerhouse of knowledge and experience. And if it is from a diverse culture, from different countries across the world, what it would be. Awesome. Is it not? That is what we in leadership spirit does. If knowledge is power, learning is superpower. And that is exactly that we learn in the Tuesday and the Thursday sessions of Leadership Speak. We learn to speak effectively by the round-robin evaluations. That cohesive power of shared experiences from each and every individual empowers each individual to own the responsibility to become a self-directed leader. Yes, cohesion. That is what we do to empower as a self-directed leader by collaboration, connection, and communication. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Jyothi.
Thank you very much for the aligned thought of the day, Toastmaster Bindu. Now, may I request the PR Master to kindly display the award certificate, please? And once we get that going, thank you. Okay, that's a round of applause to the best effort speaker, Deborah, and next will be the evaluator. Claudette Thomas, thank you very much for that. Now I would like to hand over the session to the president and the founder of Leadership Speak, DTM Brahmanan.
Thank you very much. It's time to talk to our guests, and we have quite a number of guests actually indicate in our guest book. I've been looking at the guest book, and they've indicated that they want to join our club. Isn't that amazing? In fact, one person who had to leave the meeting a bit earlier said, I want to join this club. How do I do that? And then he's put his information in the guest book. So I'll be contacting, or Leah will be contacting them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, is Laison T. Laser from Dar es Salaam here in this meeting? Have you left? Looks like I can't see this person. Villette Benjamin, are you there? Okay, Seema Badaya. Hello, Seema, are you there? Seema is all the way from Jaipur, and she is indicated that she wants to join the club in the guest book. I will be connecting with Seema soon. I can see that she's on the screen, but perhaps she's having difficulty connecting to us right now. Carlos has left the meeting and he's indicated he would like to join. Isn't this great news, ladies and gentlemen? This, what we've done here today and what we do here every week. We had, I think, over 45 people join the meeting today. So, my good old friend Clifton Mayers is here as well. Clifton, how are you? Are you there, Clifton? All right. And then we have Clement Joe. His name is Luciano's name. Are we related? Clement? No? All right. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I will now pass this back to our Toastmaster of the day. Oh, Clement is, oh, there he is. Sorry. Hey, Clement, how are you?
Sorry, I'm well, thank you. Just struggling to unmute myself and had to walk away for a few minutes. No, but
how did you find our meeting, and what did you learn from our meeting?
It's the first time I joined, and while I do have the same surname, we are almost brother with Luciano. We come from have known Luciano for quite a few years, and we come from the same club. The meetings was really fantastic. I really have to apologize because I had to skip the last 20 minutes. I think the last 20 minutes because of our working commitments. But I really loved the speeches. You know, they were really enriching, really fun, and really entertaining. So really looking forward to joining a few of your sessions again in the future. I think there's been a challenge from our district director and Zinger on how really internalizing ourselves. I'm currently the Cascata Toastmasters president, you know, and of our club, and I really want to enrich myself, and I want to enrich our meetings, you know, by getting a bit more awareness of how other clubs are managing their sessions. Sure. It was really fantastic. Not very often we have many speakers. We tend to stick with the 3 speakers. We're looking to having few more speakers. So looking forward to having some of you attending our session. So, but
sure,
really thanks, and great to have me.
Wonderful, thank you. So you really gotten the value from today's meeting. Are you thinking of becoming a member at some point in time? We'll invite you to become a member.
I'll give it a thought. That definitely all this something that I'll be discussing with Ting and Luciano. I know they are members, really good friends, and we work quite closely together. Currently, I would say, I'm struggling a little bit in terms of time, but definitely, as part of my DTM commitment, I do have to be a member of a different club. So definitely something that I'll consider.
Wonderful. And please do come and visit us as many times as you wish. There's no restrictions on how many times you can come here, learn what you can, and copy and paste it to your clubs. Thank you for being here.
We'll definitely do. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. And with that, since nobody else has put up their video or their microphone, I will hand this back to our Toastmaster of the day. Over to you, Jyothi.
Thank you very much, DTM Brown. Before I close, our journey towards excellence here at Leadership Speak isn't a solo one. It's shaped by every meeting, every speech, and every evaluation we give and receive. I would like to urge each and every one of us here to continue to elevate one another and how we can work together in order to reach that benchmark we set at every meeting, raising the bar, both within and outside of Toastmasters. Thank you. This was indeed a fantastic meeting, and I would like to adjourn the meeting now. Thank you. Over to the president.